let's get to the first email. And the first email today comes to us from Vic Brown, who writes, I know you said you were a big fan of the show Grimm. I was. When it was on TV, so I was wondering what your thoughts are on the news that NBC was developing a spin-off series, and if you know much about it. All right, thanks a lot for the question, Vic. And yeah, look, you guys know I don't have time to watch a lot of TV, but there was this little show, and we all have these shows that we know aren't the best shows, but for whatever reason, the shows strike a chord with us, right? They just resonate with us, and they work for us, even if we know they're not all that great. For me, Grimm was one of those shows. I watched the first few episodes and I just really got into it. And I stuck with it all the way through. Was not thrilled with the final season. It was clearly very rushed, like they realized they were ending the show at 6, and it felt like they found out at the last minute that they were ending the show after season 6. And it felt very much to me like they kind of rushed through. And so I wasn't a big fan of the final season. But that aside, overall, I really liked it. I liked the mythology. I liked the world. I liked all that kind of stuff. For those of you who don't know anything about it, and not a whole ton of people watched it, but basically, you got this guy, Nick. He's a cop in Portland who discovers he's actually a descendant from the line of Grimms. And Grimms are these basically supernaturally empowered individuals who can see Wesen, mythological creatures that hide as human-looking creatures. And throughout the centuries, Grimm have killed and fought off Wesen and all this kind of stuff. It's really cool mythology. And they get hexen beasts and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, the show came to its conclusion last year. And now they're talking about, there are these reports that Vic is talking about, that NBC is looking at launching a spin-off series. And it's not a reboot. And unlike some other spin-offs that just ignore everybody from the originals, it sounds like they're going to bring some of the original characters back too. Here's what it said in the report. I believe we got this from Deadline, who wrote, the Untitled spin-off will center on a female Grimm. Per NBC, building off the mythology of the original series, the new show will feature returning fan favorites while also introducing new characters, new dangers, and epic new mysteries. I hear no actors are currently attached, but the idea is for the offshoot to feature some original cast members, regular or recurring. I love that idea. Now, it's not going to be Nick, because the actor who plays Nick, he's got another series already lined up, so we know he's going to be good. But maybe guys like Monroe, the werewolf who kind of becomes his best friend, maybe his kids. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities there. Now, the idea of it being a female Grimm is not new to the Grimm thing. The Grimm before Nick was Nick's mom. So Nick's mom was that Grimm, and then it kind of passed on to Nick, and Nick became Grimm and all that kind of stuff. So having a female Grimm there is not all that bad. Look, here's the thing. The thing that got me into Grimm was their handling of the mythologies. I thought it was fun, and I thought it was interesting, and the way they kind of took traditional mythologies, utilized old stories and old mythologies into their shows, while also taking some creative liberties with them, I thought was creative and really enjoyable. If they're going to do that, like for me, the show didn't revolve around Nick, although Nick was great. The show didn't really, the heart of the show to me wasn't Nick per se, it was the mythology of the show. So if they can move on now and continue just exploring that mythology in the same kind of way, at the same level of quality, I'm all on board with this. Another interesting little note about Grimm. His love interest was a character named Juliet. The woman who played Juliet was great, and she's going to be now Lois Lane in the CW Arrowverse crossover. Because remember they announced they were going to have a Lois Lane in there with Superman? It's actually going to be the actress who played Juliet in Grimm. So there's a nice little tie-in there. So yes, I'm looking forward to it. I'm curious to see how it turns out. And if it's a waste, oh well. If it's good, perfect. All right, let's move on to the next topic.